100 years ago today, in Pune, a darling baby girl was born. Her name was Mani S. Irani, and she was God's sister. Within moments of her birth, he held her in his arms, saying, "She is so fortunate. She is mine." Today we celebrate Mani's exemplary life of love and service to her darling, beloved Meher Baba, God brother, the avatar of the age. Jai Baba. Happy birthday to Tamani. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mani. Happy birthday to you. And now Heather will lead us in our first song, and you're part of the Baba birthday chorus out there, okay? Don't forget.
God in 1914, and 4 years later she appeared on the scene. He scooped her up the very day she came, and he never let go of his sister again. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday to Daddy. She felt Baba's love from the very start, and right off she gave him her whole heart. She longed to join her god brother fast, but he made her wait till she grew up at last. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday to Daddy. To be his disciple was fun but no joke. She surrendered all to remain so close. A very rough walk from beginning to end, but she danced along by the grace he'd send. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday to Daddy. She served his beloved Mera too, was friend to his lovers, as we all knew, sparkling, lively, with humor sublime, the right sister for the God-man divine. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th birthday. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray, hooray, it's Mani's 100th, Mani's 100th, Mani's 100th birthday. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Jai Baba.
We thought today, especially on her 100th birthday, it would be great to feature Mani herself telling some of her own birth story. So rather than me reading about it, we're going to let Mani tell us all a little bit about it in this first clip. And we need Huey or someone in the back. Suni, could you turn the lights off? I'm not sure which light switches they are, but anyway, the knobs. Okay, so here we are, Mani telling us a little bit about that very special time.
You see, it's so heartwarming to hear your stories of how you came to Baba, each of you. You, his promised children, he had promised us that you will see them, my children. They will come, and you will see them. And the love on his face, as he said it, the love of a mother, the pride of a father. And so, we are given that by him. He had you with him for a long time, until you come out after Baba dropped his phone. Now, I can't tell you how I came to Baba, because Baba came to me just a few minutes after my birth. I was born in Pune in David Sassoon Hospital, where Baba was born over 24 years before. He was Meherabad then. Meherabad to his friends and acquaintances, Meherabad to his parents and family. Meherabad is an intimate form of the name in Dari. Dari is a Persian dialect. So, I'm afraid I don't remember the first meeting. But I've been told, and I never tired of hearing my mother tell some relative or friend about these things. And I would listen rapt as how Baba came to me. It seems that when the nurse announced, "It's a girl," Meherabad was very pleased. He hurried over to where I was and picked me up and held me to him. Despite my mother's protests, "Meherabad, put her down. She hasn't been washed yet." And so, that is the beginning. A continuation of many lives of longing. And I feel I was born with just one ambition. That ambition has been fulfilled, but it still remains with me. The same one ambition, to be with Baba. I always knew he was God, even from my earliest childhood, as naturally as I knew a chocolate, a biscuit, a ball. He was my brother, who happened to be God. Or he was God, who happened to be my brother. And I was never modest about it, never. I would hug that thing to myself and speak of it whenever I could.
Don't worry, there's going to be a lot more of that a little later in our program, Mani sharing with us. Now I would like to ask Cindy to get ready for her number, and while she's doing that, we have a lovely reading by Suni. Mani was just the best writer, whether it was a poem or a joke or a play. Let me move away from this. Whether it was a play, the family letters, amazing, such a writer. And in this one, she talks about the thing that she would say very much to all of us, remembering Baba. Okay, Suni, let's do it right over here. And so they're not going to look at those people over there. They're just going to look at you while you read their city. Here, hold it nice and close.
This is from the family letters. Remember Him in His Way by Mani S. Rani. What's in a name? Everything when it is His name. Kabir says, Ram's name is yours for the looting. Loot all you can, while you can, before time and body pass away. In time's dreary desert, avatar time is the springtime, when each moment of God loving and God remembering may conceive a lifetime's yield of God nearing in our journey to Him. And yet, how often we let our moments lie like blossoms in the dust, trampled under the feet of our busyness, scattered by the winds of carelessness, unheeded by eyes turned to selfness. And in His compassion, that unimaginable, unlimited compassion, Baba, our beloved avatar, reminds us, remember me. This is by Baba. The remedy for all ills is to remember me constantly and wholeheartedly. In telling us this, He tells us He is with us, that when we are with Him, our worrying melts, and we can be with Him only in wholehearted remembrance. Beloved Baba says, you will come to remember me wholeheartedly as you remember yourself less and less. Jai Bharat.
Could you tell us a little bit about your song?
Well, Heather said, write a song for Money's 100th birthday. I said, okay, maybe. I think I said, I don't remember what I said actually, but I did it. So here it is.
Money, the sister of Meherabad, who had only one dream, her wish to be with him always was granted when she was 14. But he was more than her brother, her master, her lord, and her friend. He and his beloved Meherabad, and everything. Her life is a song for the ages, a servant who chose to be found, a sparkling star in the heavens above, a most beautiful jewel in his crown. The brightest star in the heavens, so close to the moon and the sun, a guiding light to the lovers of God, her fate the most fortunate one. Baba had joined her to Mera by his wish they were never apart. She was the constant companion and friend to the queen of his heart. Her life is a song for the ages, a servant who chose to be found, a sparkling star in the heavens above, a most beautiful jewel in his crown. her only wish or desire. Money was gentle as flowers, with love much fiercer than fire. She always danced to his music, in silence and thundering sound. She danced right into his ocean and drank until she was drowned. Her life is a song for the ages, a servant who chose to be found, a sparkling star in the heavens above, a most beautiful jewel in his crown. Her love is a song for the ages, a servant who chose to be found, a sparkling star in the heavens above, a most beautiful jewel in his crown, a most beautiful jewel in his crown. Need to get on.
Thank you, Cindy and company, for the beautiful song.
What did you guys think? What?
Cindy, okay.
Oh, we're gonna get chairs for you. Oh, did you rather stand? Okay. How about sitting? Okay. As you know, Dara and Armand don't usually speak here, and I would love them to come and speak for an hour and a half sometime. Now, he says it won't take more than a minute, but I'm hoping, I actually scheduled this for like 7 or 8 minutes, so, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. So we are so lucky, we know that Monty was so happy to have a god brother. Well, Dara has a god, let me see, a god uncle and a Monty auntie. So we've asked them to speak today what it was like to have Monty as the auntie. Okay, Jai Baba. And let me see, do you have the mic?
You want this one? Here's one. Does Robert have one? Oh, I'm loud enough.
No. Okay, Jai Baba. Hello.
In her introduction, mentioned that I had Money as my aunt. So when I came back from England after my first visit back, after spending 6 years there, I became a little westernized, so I started to call her Money Auntie. The rest of the family would call her Money Fui, but I would call her Money Auntie. And of course, she would tease me. Oh, so you've become British now, have you? Calling me Auntie. Anyway, but then years later, when finally I was able to come back to life back in India, and go to Meherabad to record the stories in Mandi Hall. I'd end up going there before the bus arrives. I'd go ahead of the crowds to set up my equipment. And after going into Mandi Hall and setting up everything, I'd come out after taking darshan and sit on the bench, waiting for things to happen. And quite often I'd hear Mani Auntie walking across from the ladies' side, coming towards the men's side, singing. Yeah. And of course, her first point was to go to Baba's chair and bow down there. And then she'd come out of the door and see me and said, "Oh, Tara, you're here." I said, "Yes, Mani Auntie." I'd get up and greet her and say, "Jai Baba, Mani Auntie." And I'd say, "How are you, Mani Auntie?" And she would say, "Alive, damn it." So this is the wonderful, loving side of Mani Auntie. But of course, there was also a very stern side of her, especially if she would hear that we did something that she felt wouldn't please Baba. So we get this phone call, and we shiver in our boots. It would be one of the ladies saying, Mani Auntie wants to see you, please come. So of course we rush off to the trust office, and of course we'd enter, Mani would be seated on her desk, she'd greet us warmly, and then of course she'd take her to her parlor. And of course we'd go there, and she'd sit down, and we'd sit next to her, and she would hand under a box of tissues, blowing. Yes, and of course, before long, she was in tears, and Mani Auntie was telling us things that she felt we had done wouldn't please Baba. And of course, after everything was over, she again warmly greeted us, and we walk out. And as I've said this before, we always felt that we'd gained something. We never felt that, we'd be punished. Never. Because she always put it from Baba's perspective, and, what she explained to us was absolutely correct. We had no arguments. So that's my little sharing of Mani Auntie. One other thing, and I've said this before too. One day, somebody foolishly tells Mani Auntie, you all aren't indispensable. So Mani Auntie says, you're absolutely right, but we are irreplaceable.
Jai Baba. I'll tell you my own story, my first connection with Meherabad, but Mani Auntie. But one thing, when Dara was telling that we often were called at trust office for, some sort of confrontation or something, Baba had told Mani that she is the head of the family and she has to take care of us all, means like Baba's nieces, nephews, brothers, and even older one than her, like her brothers, and nieces and nephews and all that. So we were part of that, of course, fortunately. And so now and then we will hear Rustam and Sarah been called for certain things. So wonder what they did. And then all of a sudden our turn comes. And then so it was like, as Dara said, we learned so much. And when you're young, you're foolish, you do many silly things. And we're so fortunate, Baba's own sister guided us. My connection, it started with Mani, of course, Meher Baba, Mehra and his monthly new lifetime when they were all in North India, Dehradun. Of course, as Mani Auntie said earlier, she doesn't remember when she was baby, so I was baby that time, so I don't remember. But later on, gradually, much later, of course, when I had a chance to come and stay in Meherabad, of course one remembered. But one thing I was told when I was baby, they were in Dehradun and Baba used to go away on tours, go to, not in new lifetimes, not out of India, just close by, sometime Haridwar or mountains. So he had given told ladies to be busy, make something. So I believe I was told they used to make all these little babies' booties and little sweaters and little caps. And then when I was grown and I'm in Meherabad, I was told, do you know that you are our little baby model? We used to grab you from your mother's lap and bring you there and tie those caps because we didn't know how to do all these things. So my connection, my touch with our beloved Mani and Manli started from that time. Then again, growing up, she, with of course Baba and Mehra, she took a big part in our marriage. And, it's Meher and Money. I know it's Money's day, but I just see them, always Meher and Money. I can't just say Money. Meher and Money, both of them kind of trained me. I came from a simple place, knew very little, quite young I was, and they were like my, Meherabad was like my finishing school, where they teach you how to dress up properly and how to behave, how to talk and all that, and haven't learned much. And then gradually, all those beautiful gifts for the wedding and helping them. One thing which I'll never forget, I didn't know how to wear sari. So Mehera and Mani in Mehera's room and Mani's room taught me properly how to wear sari, and for my wedding day and engagement day. So that's my connection with them, and everything was beautiful. But as I often finish my story, she was beautiful. Mani auntie, Dara's aunt, became my aunt-in-law, and till she was auntie, it was perfectly all right. But the day she became aunt-in-law, we were called often to her office for talk. Jai Baba.
Thank you so much. And I think we should have them come for the long version, don't you?
All right. And here we have Mani, of course, I said she loved jokes. She could write jokes. She was very good with puns. Well, she also very much enjoyed her brother Jal's jokes. So we don't have Jal, but we have someone here today that maybe could do something about that. Okay, go for it. Peter Nordin.
When you see these, is this on? Okay. When you see these videos of Mani, you might notice that she has a particular trait that is similar to Baba's, which is when she wants to tell a story or explain something, she might do this, a little bit like this, which Baba used to do also. So Baba's brother Jal had a trait that was also similar to Baba. He would, when he wanted to express himself sometimes, he would flash his eyes in a certain way. And he also had his hat like this. He had his own unique way of expressing himself. In those days when we were with Baba in the Mastoons in the north, it was very cold, very chilly. Once I got a bad cough. I had to see a doctor who gave me some medicine. And we were traveling all the time. So in the evenings we would have dinner at hotels, eating at hotels. After some days, Baba said to me, "What is that in your pocket?" I showed Baba spoons, handful of spoons. Baba said, "John, what are you doing? You're stealing?" I said, "No, Baba, I would never steal. This is the doctor's orders." "What do you mean, this is the doctor's orders?" I said, "Baba, the medicine bottle, you see, the doctor's prescription. Take 2 spoons after every meal." I would not steal. The women Mandali used to come to Meherabad for Baba's darshan, usually twice a month. And occasionally, they would have lunch with the residents. Alan would make a nice meal, we'd have lunch. After one of those occasions, lunch, Mani looked at me and said, "Luja." So I remembered this one. "Recently I passed by my old school. I couldn't believe it. My old school still there. I had to stop and go inside. I walked through that same old door, down that same old hallway. Couldn't believe it. There's my same old classroom is there. I went inside, same old desk. Same old cabinet. I opened the door. Inside, a boy and a girl kissing. I said, how dare you? What are you doing in there? The boy said, no, sir. This is my sister. Excuse me, this is my sister. Can you believe it? Same old story. Same old story. Recently, an old friend of mine got married. I said, what are you doing to him? What are you doing? After all these years you got married, you could have been free, free. And that too to such a domineering woman. He said, no, no. Why, I tell you, just last night, she was on her knees before me. I said, is it true? She was on her knees before you? What did she say? She said, come out from under that bed, you coward.
Well, this morning we had a lovely morning RT, and we heard about some of the stories behind, I don't know if we heard the story behind this one. BB with Baba. Heather, could you just stand up?
Hello. Pretend like we're at
One of those places where they have it. Heather will tell us how fun you wrote to be with Baba.
Okay. There was a time many years ago when Rustam and Surab, her nephews, as Dara is a nephew, they were going to America. They were invited to go to America and to share Baba's stories and Baba's songs with Baba lovers there. But they were a little bit nervous. I mean, they knew many songs and many jokes and all that, as Dara does, that amused Baba, but they were kind of nervous about not having a good song. So Mani said, oh, do you need a song for your trip? And they said, yes, Mani. And so, and you just tell us what to sing and we'll sing it. And she said, all right. And she wrote this song, B with Baba, which they learned and they sang in America, and a lot of people enjoyed it. And this song goes on, and that's this song that Mani wrote for them.
all B A Baba, girl or boy. So that's why the lyrics are up there also for us to sing along with Ted and Huey. Mani's song, Be With Baba.
Over here, over here.
And Gina guys. I don't know how this works. Where's the sound? Join along.
Test.
Hello?
Test. Excuse the lack of a rolled R on rubber. So we depend on you to provide that. Rubber.
Be with Baba. Be like India rubber. Let him hold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl. Be a Baba boy. Be a Baba girl. Be a Baba boy. Times when you feel low, times when you feel high, he'll never let you go because he loves you so. He's always, always nigh, holding your hand, helping you stand in his love to grow. Be with Baba. Be like India rubber. Let him hold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl. Be a Baba boy.
be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy. Drive those strangers from your heart, give them notice to depart. Shoo, shoo, be gone, leave my house alone. My king has come to stay. He needs more space to spread his grace, more and more every day. Be with Baba, be like India rubber. Let him hold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy. Be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy.
Thank you so much. That was great. It's always fun. The next thing we have is a nice slide presentation. And before we even begin, I want to thank Meherabad Publications and MSI Photos and other people. And we need to turn lights off. Is that why you're waving? Okay. Because we're going to see some things. I don't know about you, but I go to MSI and Meherabad on Zen Folio, and I see them sort of small. But it's such a joy to be able to see these pictures nice and big in a slide presentation. And for the music of this presentation, we have Mani herself. All the sitar music and the singing is by her, and it was on the CD, My Heart is Calling You. Mani learned sitar, and I remember the story of her playing it sometimes to cover up the sound, even if there would be any male voices up on the hill. Mara wasn't allowed even to hear a man's voice, and there was a time when Mani needed to play all afternoon, I believe it was many hours at least. I might be exaggerating, but it would have been a long time. So we can see how good she got at practicing, because it sounds beautiful. So please enjoy this nice presentation. Lights off, please.
his brother, you are God. For the sake of love, for the sake of the world, you put your hand forth. That's it.
Even the yellow. Jai Baba. Wow. You saw some clips there of the four ladies that were together in the New Life. Oh, whoops. I guess it's in. Prior to that, there was a time when so many of them went on a blue bus. And I thought it'd be wonderful to hear about the blue bus, how it felt about its wonderful load of passengers. Kristen is going to come up and read excerpts from Monty's own, I think it's called The Blue Bus?
A true story.
A true story. Here we go. Would you like
A True Story by Mani S. Irani. There was a bus. So blue was she, no sky or hill can bluer be. Oh, that time we met her first, with joy my heart did nearly burst. She traveled north, she traveled south, east and west, and roundabout, many a place she's wandered to. She was a gypsy through and through. Sometimes on the journey, I've heard her groan and squeak and clatter in every bone, but the winters she put up with, no doubt, may have given her a touch of gout. In spite of that, she was a cheerful bird, for whenever you wished, you could have heard such laughter and songs inside that make you think she was a traveling radio. Sometimes arguments, and oh, such fuss. I wonder what the dear old bus thought of us. She must have often been tickled quite a good bit, for often we've heard her tire sides split. What beats me is the way she always grew bigger. Not that it made any difference to her figure, but with bagulas and pails forever increasing and fainting and freezing, potatoes and sneezing, laughing and singing, shouting and snuff. One would have thought she had had enough. But not once did she let her dignity fall. She'd swallow it down with a gup of Peltron. And however ridiculous our number may be, she'd remark with a smile that's cheerful to see, "Get in, my dears, and don't mind me." But those were the days when she was younger, and now she rests in peaceful slumber, soothing her shattered iron nerves, digesting a rest she truly deserves. Oh, separation has made my heart quite sore, and I shall not endeavor to say much more, for dear memories are never dead, and things understood are better unsaid. Jai Baba.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Well, we got a real taste of Monty's writing abilities. Now, what about her storytelling abilities? We all know she was a fabulous storyteller. So coming up right now, we're going to hear some tales of the new life with Monty.
So there were many instances of which Erich has so beautifully given you a sample of as to how in the new life Baba's love was so powerful, his majesty was unquestioned. You just asked a person, all right, will you get out of your house? Will you let your house to us without knowing who you are, why you are here, how many days, and conditions? Will you give us food, but only this kind? Will you do this? Will you do that? Always the answer was yes. Now we witnessed one such thing, we women, who never took part in the arrangement of things, because Baba did that through his New Life men, or his men monthly, as usually he would also do at other times. So what we witnessed was that once again, all we heard was once again, such that there is a couple, a middle-aged couple who are seeing to our comfort, who's sending us the food and doing all this. But the food would be restricted because Baba would push back, no more, this much, and not to spoil us. So we were at Meherabad. We had walked for endless miles, it seemed. But the funny part was we'd come to the end of through the town, to the end where we were supposed to camp, and I don't know what happened, and Baba didn't like it or whatever. We had to turn back and go right through the town again and go to the spot where Baba wanted himself and us all to camp for the night. And it was to be more than for a night, it was to be for a few days. And it was a sort of a park because it was fenced in, but it was a mango grove. Beautiful mango trees under which we parked the caravan, and sometimes we see some children moving in there. The whole place was just mango trees. It was just so lovely. And so we were getting the food, Baba told us, from a family. It should be just so, and just this much, and just at this time. And again, no seeing the head companion. Not even asking to see, not seeing, not coming, simply sending, is it acceptable? Do you? Yes. They always said yes. Will you do this, 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 this? Yes, yes. Very lovingly. And yet inside they were longing. They were just longing to see Baba. Just a glimpse. Somehow they knew. They knew inside of them. So where we were, the grove, the mango grove park had this iron gate. Now this couple had come one day and simply they would hand over the food. They wouldn't come in and they wouldn't ask. But they just, even that closeness, that little distance made them feel happy that they're that much closer to where they want to be. So they'd stand at the gate, give the food, go away. One day they stood there with an enormous kettle of aluminum and silently stood. They dared even call out, dared say, please give our message. Nothing. They were so afraid they might be displeasing him in some way, or something might go wrong with this very delicate and beautiful thing that they were experiencing. So at last Baba said, what's happening here? He said something. He said, Baba, the people are afraid to suggest, but they brought a whole kettle of sugarcane juice for you and your people, your men and women. And Baba scowled, oh, all right, but they're not to do that again. And then the kettle of sugarcane juice came in. It was so lovely. And of course, Baba poured it with his own hand and all that. Then, I don't know exactly who was approached, what happened. This much I know, that somehow they expressed their intense and deep longing, just one glimpse of him before he leaves this place and goes away. And Baba had agreed, said, all right, we are leaving tomorrow morning. This was the evening before. Tell them I am leaving with my men, with my companions. I'm leaving tomorrow morning up towards the pilgrimage up north. And they can simply stand there, not talk, not bow, not join hands, simply stand and they can see me only. And they agreed. They agreed ecstatically. So now I forgot all about that, but the next morning as we were leaving, it was, the dawn was just beginning to come up. And Baba, and as we passed by, something made me turn my head. And I turned and I saw a couple of a middle-aged couple standing there, helpless because they couldn't even bow down to the one they adored. They just stood there. And Baba wasn't even looking at them. Baba going by, they simply following him with their eyes. And as I turned, I saw tears were streaming down their cheeks. Silent tears. But they had what they wanted, a glimpse of that blessing. I'll never forget that. It just touched me so deep and made me realize, look at us. We see him all the time. We have him all the time. And yet, how precious he is to those who are so thirsty for just a glimpse. Whenever we would camp, the people of that village knew. You know, in India, in every part of India, there is a phone system that needs no wires, that needs no instruments, that just happens. We call it telepathy, radar, what curiosity, whatever it is. News of our coming and stopping at that place would reach that village, the nearest village, before we would get there. So as soon as we got there, this was a strange procession of strange people with carts and camels and people and women separate. So they would come and gather there. But there again, they also, like the Indian custom, the men would be separate, they would go to the men's side, the women would come to the women's side. And they would sit around in their own groups also, according to their castes. Not religion, but castes. The lower caste and the higher caste, the untouchables and the touchables. So among the untouchables, there were some marvelous characters. And there was this old lady once. And they would all just, be so drawn to Baba, they didn't want to leave. And this old lady was looking at Baba. She had so many wrinkles, very fair complexion. And she was telling Baba some old tales, and Baba was listening and nodding, and we are around, waiting for the women to go so that we can do something for the villagers to go. But this was great. And she said to Baba, she said, Mato, if I were a few years younger, Baba, I would have gotten up and danced for you. I used to dance. But now, Baba, hey, king, all king. So Baba said, hey, king. So go to the men's side, tell Pendu to give her some homeopathic, because Pendu was, Baidul. Go to Baidul and get some homeopathic pills from him for aches and pain, whatever she has, you see. So, the lady was so happy that Sire was giving her medicine, and it would cure. She just kept looking at Baba. Nobody else exists when Baba is there, And so, Gobar gets it. And Baba gives it to her. And she's looking at Baba. Suddenly she sees the pills. And she said, these little pills, these little things are going to make my big pain. All right. And Baba said, very nice. Oh, well, by that time she didn't mind. She put the homeopathic pills in her mouth, and she kept lilting songs at Baba. And Baba was singing, very nice. Baba was just... After a while, those pills seemed to have had an effect. I don't know. We were so delighted because the old lady got up. And then with the song, she started dancing. And Baba said, what? And the more, and that lady's dance, you could see it wasn't so much her body dancing. The body had to follow the directions of her joyous spirit, her heart. And she danced with Baba. One of those memories that real delight. Do you know that the bell which Aluba rings every evening, the time of your departure from Meherabad, that big bell that goes chonong, 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 that bell used to be round the neck of the camel, Bholaram. His name was Bholaram in the New Life. Bholaram wore that camel round his neck. It's a bell.
Wore the bell around his neck.
Excuse me, what did I say? Take that out, will you? Bholaram wore the camel wore that bell round his neck in the New Life. And that bell comes from Persia. It's a silver bell. It comes from Persia, brought by Meherji Katkaria. So if Aluba can bring it and hold it before them, so you could...
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. It looked like a big brooch. You take... Katko karina ko. Pakras. See? Yeah, take Aluba. Like that. Yeah. And pakwa. Ah. Jai Baba.
What a storyteller. Okay. Well, the fun continues. We would like to ask, there's two women here that have some first-hand listening to Mani and jokes. So I think we have Laurel up first, and then Heather. Laurel, as Mani called her, can I say what Mani called you? Is that okay? All right, Murgi. And maybe she'll tell you why Mani called her Murgi. I don't know if I heard that. Here, come over here in the light. There, good.
Hello. I worked in the trust office with Mani a lot. It was a wonderful thing. She did nickname me Murgi, which means hen. I hadn't gone to Weight Watchers at that point. Anyway, one day, this part is not a joke. It's a little Mani pearl of wisdom that I just remembered because today is Mani's birthday. So I walked into the trust office one day and you saw the slide of her in the trust office where her desk used to be, and the map of the world was behind her. And that's where it was at that time. And I walked in and I was talking to her about something that, whatever it was, I remember, but I don't have to share. And she stopped me and she said, maybe over her glasses, she said, you know Murgi? I went, yes. She said, when the bird is in the cage, if it flies up, it can't escape from the cage. It can't get free from the cage if it goes up. It has to go down. That's where the little door to the cage is, down. Anyway, Mani told lots of jokes, great jokes, and I'm here to give you two of them. One day, a little Tommy, let's call him, was on the bus with his mother, and he tugs on his mother's skirt and says, Mom, yes, Tommy? Mom, is it true that we are here to help others? Mother was so pleased. Yes, Tommy. What a good little boy you are. Yes, we're here to help others. And the bus went along, and then Tommy tugged again and said, Mom, yes, Tommy. What are the others here for? Then Tommy went to school the next day, and the teacher asked, Children, class, who can tell me where God lives? And Mary put up her hand. Yes, Mary? Yes, miss. God lives in the church. Very good, Mary. And then little Joey raised his hand. Yes, Joey. Yes, miss. God lives in heaven. Very good, little Joey. And then little Tommy put up his hand. Yes, Tommy. I know where God lives. Miss. Where, Tommy? God lives in my bathroom. Tommy, what do you mean by that? It's true, miss. God lives in my bathroom. Well, why are you saying that, Tommy? Well, every morning, my father waits outside the bathroom and says, Oh, Lord, are you still in there?
Thank you so much. Heather, would you like to come and share a Monty story, a Monty joke, something of Monty?
Here you go. Well, it's hard to beat Morgie, as I have found over the years. However, this is another Monty joke, and it's something about a place where people go when they're either old or they're just not quite feeling themselves, and sometimes they have a little different idea of who they actually are. You know, that can happen for phases, you know. And this takes place in one of those places, and there was a little row of people, and this gentleman used to walk around in the different row of beds of people, and one day, and he used to walk, I'm sure you've heard of Napoleon? He used to walk like this. It should be like that, but I can't do that with the microphone. And but he'd walk around like Napoleon, and he'd walk up and down, and all the people would watch him from their beds. And one day, one of the doctors comes in and says, yes, sir, and who do you feel you are today? Hoping there might be a little change in his attitude. And he says, he stands there and he says, who am I? I am Napoleon. And the doctor looks at him for a minute and says, oh, really? Uh-huh, I see. Again, Napoleon? I am Napoleon. Oh, I see. And just tell me, that's wonderful. My honor to you, sir. But where did you get the idea that you're Napoleon? What in you makes you feel that you're Napoleon? And he says, God told me so. And the doctor goes, oh. And all of a sudden, this little old lady in the next bed goes, I did not.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I had never heard that. That's wonderful. I'm learning something new every day here. Could I have a microphone at the piano? Could I have a microphone? we have enough time to do this, so I'm going to do it. And then David, you're going to be after this, okay? Well, I loved hearing what Laurel had said about the bird, and there's something so meaningful, I think, when Monty at one time had woken up and had heard this voice inside of her. And I remember hearing her tell about it in Mondley Hall, and it was so precious. And she said, it was as clear as could be. And the voice said, I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. And I don't know what happened after that with Monty's thinking about it, but she never forgot it. And then if you fast forward years and years later, when it was close to the time when Monty was going to be having her reunion with Baba, we got that letter from Dr. Goher in the West, an update on Monty's condition. And she was told, Goher told about how Monty was doing. She says, Monty has a message for you all. And in Monty's way, of course, she said, well, to tell us all this. Well, the bird is singing away, but the cage is in need of repair. So I think about the thoughtfulness that even in that state that she was in, that she would have that thought, of course, for herself, but the loving generosity that she would have to share that with the whole Baba family. I'm the bird, I'm not the cage. So I wrote a little round, and it's only going to take 1 minute. We're going to just sing it. Some of you already know it. I don't need that. I just need I don't know about you, but I know it helps me sometimes to take a Baba quote, repeat it over and over in my heart until I calm down or whatever it is. And this one is, I think, a gift from Mani. Okay. And just join when you know it. We're only going to take about a minute to do this, but it'd be nice for you to go away singing with this bird with you. You could do this. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage again. I am the bird, I am not the cage. And then keep singing that. And if you know this other part, sing it with me. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage again. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am the bird, I am not the cage. I am not the cage. I am not the cage. Thank you, Mani, for sharing that with us. And Dave, would you please come up and read your reading?
I didn't choose this quote, but it was chosen for me, on the topic of suffering by Mani. From the time I was little, I knew that suffering, like everything else in creation, comes from God. I noticed how much suffering my loved ones had to go through in one way or another, especially my close family. Later, I'd wonder why the good people I knew received more suffering, while the not good people I knew got away with whatever they did. The answer came from within me, that suffering must surely be a very good thing. Such a good thing that God would want to share it with his special ones. I asked Father about it, and he said, "Never question God's love and wisdom, my child. Suffering is a passing thing given to you for your lasting benefit.
Thank you so much. And I loved it when Darren Amrit mentioned the sterner side of Mani Auntie. And those of us who worked with her also got to, and I shouldn't say everybody, I don't know, but I at least have one good Hammer story, which I'm not going to tell right now. But the love that she had for correcting us, because it was needed and it was so appreciated. Thank you, Mani. Now on a lighter note, a song for Mani, You Are the Sun.
You must sing along. It says, ba 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 ba, you are the sun. Ba 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 ba, you are the only. Okay? So sing along with Mani. We started again.
Oh, Meherabad, you're only one. Oh, Meherabad, my only Baba. Show me how to receive your grace. Tell me how can I please you? Just to see a smile on your face. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you're the only one. Oh Meherabad, my only Baba. For me your name is the blood of blood. It's in the songs of your many lovers, and I hear it in the song of the birds. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you're the only one. Oh Meherabad, my only Baba, you are my Lord and you are my friend. There never was or will be another. I am truly yours to the end. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you are the sun. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you're the only one. Oh Meherabad, my only Baba. Show me how to receive your grace. Tell me how can I please you? Just to see a smile on your face. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you are the sun. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you're the only one. Oh Meherabad, my only Baba. For me your name is the blood of blood. Listen the songs of your many lovers, and I hear it in the song of the birds. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Oh Meherabad, you're the only one. Jai Baba. Jai Baba, Walter.
Jai Baba. Here's a little closing quote, and then we'll follow with a beautiful song that Mani wrote called You Found Me. This is from a quote out of The Joyous Path, and these are Mani's words. God's name is here for the looting. There's so much of it. We heard that before. Here she says, it's like apple season when the ground is covered with apples. You think then that there will always be there, but they won't. That season of plenty goes and another season comes. This is the time. This is the season for gathering His remembrance. So we have to make the most of it. We have to acquire the habit of remembering Him. That habit will stand us in good stead even when we are born again. Baba has made it clear that in our next birth we pick up from where we left off this last time. So it is for us to make our relationship with Him, our remembrance, our love, our obedience, our surrender to Him as complete as we can, so that we can pick up from there the next time. And she sings in this song, it's Janet Luck singing, but Baba, you found me. And that'll be our closing for today. Jai Baba.
On my lips I held you close when I was a thrush pouring my yearning from a bush. I was in song adoring you in wondrous praise all the day long, praising you with my song. Darling Meher Baba. When I was a grain of sand and I was sleeping in a parched desert land where I was weeping for a breath of your love, you kissed me, my dearest love, as caressing raindrops from above, you kissed me, my love. I was once a gurgling brook, stealing o'er arid paths forsook. In all my ups and downs, feeling you in every stone and nook. And now I am a human being, always wondering where to find the loved one. I was wondering, but once again you found me, dearest beloved one. Meher, darling Meher, Meher Baba. Meher, darling Meher, Meher Baba.
Avatar.